Let's build another great unclean one.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Let's Build a Great Unclean One. But first, before we start, I would just like to announce that I am partnering up with Putrid Painting. That's right, this is a website where you can get all your hobby stuff from. It's a UK-based website as well. It also offers the cheapest green stuff, which I'm very, very pleased to announce. Really cheap green stuff, really cheap prices in regards to paints and hobby supplies and stuff like that. And I'm just doing this bit of an intro at the start of this episode just to try and raise a bit more awareness about it. There is an Indiegogo currently going on, where you can go and donate, and I will speak more about this on this week's Voxcaster later on in the week, but I just thought I would let everybody know that what's going on, and I'll put a link in the doobly-doo down to the Indiegogo, and I'll also put a link to Putrid Painting, so you guys can go and check it out. But it'd be really cool if you guys could go and show some support for Putrid Painting. Essentially, the money that's raised through the Indiegogo will go to getting more stock in, getting the website better, and providing better support and stuff for customers and clients and whatnot. But anyway, guys, that's as much as I'm going to talk about it on this video. So I'll, like I said before, I will put more information in the Voxcaster later on this week. So guys, without further ado, let's get on with the rest of the video. Okie dokie guys, so what have I been up to this week? Well, as you can see guys, I kind of did a little bit off camera, and a little bit turned into a lot, and I kind of did this entire arm, so I do apologise for that. But dog's going off on one now. But basically, what have I done so far? Well, I've kind of added some skin, and I've also added a impaled space marine that is currently getting raped by tentacles. That's right, everybody loves a bit of hentai, don't they? But yeah, anyway, so I wanted to have some kind of, something that would bring it to scale in the 40k universe. I mean, this model is absolutely massive and titanic in proportions. I mean, it looks like it could punch the lights out of a titan. So I decided, fuck it, I'm going to have a space marine in his grasp, impaled through the chest with a massive tentacle, and then other tentacles going round and constricting it. I'm going to kick that dog so hard in a second if it doesn't shut up. I'll have to shut the door. Sorry, guys. I wouldn't really kick my dog. I love the little bastard to bits. But anyway, so what am I currently doing now? Well, I had the tentacles coming out of his forearm, kind of. So what I decided to do, well, they won't just be coming out of anywhere. So I added some kind of almost like it had dermal implants underneath, where the tentacles were going in and then going into the actual body of the Great Unclean One. So I decided to add something. What the fuck? Sorry, I thought someone had just intruded into my house then, but evidently not. But anyway, guys, so what am I doing? I'm keep losing track. But yeah, so at the moment, I'm kind of doing some more under the skin kind of stuff. So I'm adding these little pustules here, because when these are dry, what I intend to do, I intend to go over with some more green stuff and make it look like there's more, like exposed boils underneath a big slothing off patch of skin. I'm trying to just cover up areas of milliput where I don't actually want to have, because as good as milliput is, it still leaves a rather chalky and a rather stone-like finish to stuff, which I didn't really want. I much prefer the smoothness of green stuff to the milliput. It was at this point as well, guys, that I was actually starting to run out of ideas for textures for him, because obviously being a Great Unclean One, it has to be extremely textured, and I was just really running out of ideas. So I was kind of, blending them in with some pock marks and blending them in with some kind of, I don't know, frayed bits of skin. I also decided I wanted this bit to have some more guts coming out. So I cut open the green stuff, pulled it apart a little bit, and I would then get some more green stuff, roll it out into a big long sausage, roll it up, and have it as guts or intestines. Now, one of you guys mentioned about segmenting the green stuff in order to make it look a bit more like guts and things, but I decided not to do that, mainly because, I've got to say, a bit of a cop-out, it was easier to do it this way, and also I didn't fancy mauling with the green stuff too much as it was wet. Well, not wet, shall I say, well, it was still in its mollable stage. So kind of pulled them, poked them down, and made them look like they were all dangling out and like they'd ruptured out of his side. And Then I proceeded to get a little bit more green stuff, and this was where I would make the overlapping bit for the arm that I said. So I put some green stuff down there, I cut it in the middle, and then started to layer it over it. And then I decided, oh, actually, hang on, I've made it a bit too big, so I decided to halve it and then do it again. So just rolling it out and cutting it down the middle, and what I would do then is once applied, I would then pick and pull it with some tweezers, as you will guys see in a second. But yeah, this was the part of the reason why I was running out of ideas for surface textures and areas of, how should I say, detail on the actual miniature. But yeah, anyway, so there we go. There's the just pulling it all down, smoothing it all out. This arm is going to get reworked on the next episode of Let's Build a Great Unclean One in order to just tie it all in with the rest of the miniature and also get rid of that slight articulation at the elbow. I wanted, I mean, a lot of people have also said, you know, why get rid of the articulation? Well, it's because I prefer my miniatures to all be one thing. But to all be one thing, to all be one piece with no moving parts. Unless they're a tank or something like that. Anyway, guys, so what am I doing now? So I'm working more on his back area and his back section. Now, what I was trying to achieve here, I was trying to achieve, well, I wasn't entirely sure. I wanted to cover up, again, a large portion of the milliput. So I decided I was going to try and have little mouths and stuff, as you guys will see in a little while. Kind of just trying to pick and add some more details and stuff, and just trying to make it a little more interesting. So what I decided to do, so add kind of like a mouth, kind of like a sphincteral mouth on there. I would get the tweezers, put them in, and then separate them in order to create kind of like an indent where I was going to put some teeth going out of there. So I'll probably come back and revisit this again next episode. I'm just poking in some holes because this is where I was going to have, well, I'm going to have teeth, hopefully, coming out like little gnashy back butt teeth. Little gnashy butt teeth. Gotta love that idea. Gotta love that idea. But anyway, so after that, it was then time to make a start on his hand weapon. That's right, it took me a little while to work out what I actually wanted. I was either going to go with a big kind of like butcher's knife, and then somebody in the comments again suggested like a bone saw. And I was like, I like that idea, but at the same time, I thought it wouldn't quite look right somehow. So I decided I would go with a gigantic meat cleaver. Almost like a Buster Sword looking effect. As I think that Nurgle stuff always looks great with really blunt and heavy looking weapons. So Buster Swords and big meat cleavers and stuff were the real only viable option. So I started getting some very, very thick plastic card. Now this is actually some stuff that I stole off of work when I used to work in my old workplace. It's actually the last of it, so I don't know how I'm going to get some more of this. Because it's not actually plastic card, it's more like a very, very dense foam kind of stuff. I wanted to articulate the edge, not articulate, I wanted to have the edge flicked out a little bit, so I added a little curve to there, and then I started cutting out the blade. It was just a case of very, very roughly going over and making it look like it had been tempered almost, and having that edge. Once the edge was done, I would then go off camera for a while, and then I would think. And then I was like, okay, I want this to be pockmarked, and I want this to have some really good texture on it. So I would literally just stab it all over with the blunt end of my pokey sculpting tool. Literally just keep stabbing into it, so it looked like loads of pockmarks and loads of areas where, I don't know, the blade had been weathered over time. Literally just kept stabbing away at it until I was happy with what that looked like. And I was contemplating, yeah, that kind of looks okay. But then I was like, hang on, it's kind of raised up a little bit at one side, and that was the wrong side that I actually wanted. I wanted to have a bigger end towards the, how do you say it? Towards the, fuck's sake, towards the end of the blade I wanted it to be bigger, and towards the back of the blade where the handle would be, I wanted it to be shorter, as most blades are. So after cutting in some little grooves, some little nicks and dings and stuff like that, I decided I wanted to add a little bit more texture to it. So I started rolling out some more green stuff, and I was going to have like a rather disease-ridden, kind of like maybe some organism or something had taken root on the actual blade. So after rolling out the green stuff, I simply decided to stop that, and then I would like, okay, I'm going to attach the handle. So got a pin, I got some, well, I used my pin vise to drill a hole, and then I went in search of some paper clips, there we go. And so I cut the little bit off, and this would form the structure which would keep the handle well and truly secured into the actual blade itself. Now, again, this plastic card doesn't hold very well in regards to poly cement, so I would have to then go over some green stuff. For the handle, I tried experimenting with some bits of sprue and shaving it down in order to make it look like a rough, kind of roughly forged handle piece. However, after I'd done this, I soon realised that it was far too flimsy and far too thin in order to fit in his hand. I needed something a little bit bigger. So I kind of drilled a hole in, and then I would sum it up whether or not I would like it, and then I would actually sum it up whether or not it looked good in the hand of the Great Unclean One. And no, as you can see there, just far too thin and far too flimsy. Like I said, the Great Unclean One lifted this and tried to swing it, it would probably break off and embed himself in his back or his neck or his spine or something like that. So I decided, I know, I'll use a bit of spherical rod, and then I was spherical rod, cylindrical rod, and again that wasn't quite right. And then I found the right one, which was a piece of rectangular square rod, which was absolutely perfect. However, this was going to prove a problem with actually sinking the paperclip pin into it. So I decided to stuff the handle with some green stuff. Literally just kept rinsing and repeating, just rolling up the green stuff, pressing it down in, and just keep doing that until it was very, very thick with green stuff, and the green stuff filled pretty much half of the handle on the inside. Because this would form a much greater secure, excuse me, a much greater and much secure, how should I say, fixture in order for it to actually go on. So I sunk the green stuff in there, and I thought, you know what, that'll do for now. But then I was like, hang on, it's going to still be really flimsy when I go to work it next time. So I added some more green stuff to the handle in order to, again, solidify it. And I actually have the piece in my hand now, and it's way secure. That is not coming out for love nor money. I also tried to fit it in his hand, and it fitted perfectly. And then I was thinking to myself, do you know what? Let's have some kind of hole in it, because I like buster blades and buster swords with big holes in, and also it would look like somewhere, you know, maybe he would hang it after a hard day of killing and causing disease to people. He'd go home, retire to his cauldron, hang it up, and then begin working on whatever ghastly, nurgly, juicy things that he wants to do. It was at this point as well that I was contemplating whether or not to have it fixed in his hand, and in the end, I ultimately made a decision not to have it fixed in place, because, I don't know, I just like the idea of having a weapon that is removable. So anyway, after this, I decided that just having a bar as the handle wasn't good enough and it didn't look quite right. So I would then roll out some more green stuff, and I would flatten it down with a bit of a base that I had, a bit of a flying base, and this would form a wrapping that would then go round the handle. Chopped off the end bit there in order to get rid of the rounded portion of it, and then I was literally a case of just wrapping it round the handle as and how I felt it. And again, I didn't want this to be too perfect. I wanted this to be quite rough in order to make it like, you know, it's kind of like a homemade weapon, you know, or kind of maybe it's put together slapdash at the last minute. So with some other green stuff that I had, this is when I wanted to start making the organism, kind of like the gooey, nurgly juiciness that goes on it. So I started by pockmarking it, and well, spreading it out first, and then pockmarking it. I would then spread down the edges in order to make it look like it was actually taking hold of the blade itself. And I was thinking to myself, how much should I actually do? When is enough on one of these blades? Because again, I wanted a fair decent amount of surface area on this blade. Because I would add some, well, I'm going to add some really awesome rust effects and stuff in the painting stage. So after rolling out some more green stuff, for some reason this green stuff's taking extra long to mix for some strange reason. I don't even know why. I decided to add a little bit more, and I was also going to add some more green stuff balls in order to make it like this had pustules and like it had growths and stuff coming out of it. I need to have a drink because I'm parched again. Fucking hell. Talking for like almost 10 minutes straight is really tasking on my fucking mouth and throat. Doesn't help that I've had a cigarette just before as well, so my mouth's already dry as a bone. Yeah, so, I can't even remember what I was flipping the bird to then. I think it was because I put my hands all in the green stuff on the wrap, so I had to kind of put it in my hobby vise in order for me to have a stable area for it to work on. And I realised that a lot of that was out of shot then, so I do apologise, guys. Again, I hope you guys appreciate that it is very hard to actually record stuff on camera whilst doing it on the fly, mainly because of the angles and stuff that I'm having to work at. So yeah, some more sculpty bits, and here's me actually pressing the balls in. Now, I cut them in half in order to, A, get more balls, well, more more pustules, should I say, and B, in order for it not to be quite as sticky outy as you know, if you would just have a complete sphere in there. There's literally a case of take the ball out on the end of the knife, stick it in, and give it a good old mark of Nurgle in there. Because as we all know, Nurgle comes in threes, everybody. Nurgle comes in threes. But yeah, so guys, please let me know what you think of this blade. I personally quite like the way it looks, and it looks even better on the actual miniature. Another bit of me brew. There isn't much more to talk about, guys. Apart from, yeah, just mainly this episode was doing the blade. I mean, I did want to put, I did want to put a lot of effort in one. I don't know, because it didn't really take me that long to do, so I wouldn't say effort, but I wanted to spend a bit more time on this blade than normal, because I didn't want the blade to look rushed at all in regards to my actual sculpting ability. However, I did want the blade to look rushed in regards to the miniature, in regards to the lore. So anyway guys, now it's night time and I'm using my new light. So I decided I didn't like the eye. So I decided, fuck it, I'm going to struggle and struggle and struggle, and I'm going to try and cut this bastard eye out. Because it kind of just looked too, it was jutting out too much than I actually would like. And then I decided, oh shit, I've actually broken off a destroyer hive there, so I had to go back and do there. Now, this was one of the first things I actually did in the miniature, and it took a lot of effort trying to get it out. I tried 2 different sets of pliers, I tried cutting it out, I tried all sorts, and in the end, I just had to fucking yank and yank and yank the bastard out. So yeah, the eye itself, again, like I said before, it was just sticking out too much, and I didn't like that. In the end, I also had to resort to using a hobby saw, a razor saw, to cut a gouge out of it in order to actually free it from from the face of the Goblin King. Now, I also didn't like the eye because it was kind of looking just straight ahead, and it didn't really have... It gave the miniature much more of a static feel, and I didn't want that. And I was also thinking to myself, well, he's holding a marine in his hand, he's tentacle raping him, so why not have him looking at the actual marine itself? So, I got some more green stuff in the end, eventually. Anytime now. God fucking damn it. I do apologise for this, guys. Like I say, I record all these on the fly as I'm actually watching them through on Sony Vegas in order to get a more spontaneous result, but sometimes there's a bit of pussyfooting about the place. Kadeki, there's not a lot going on in the view of the camera. My hands are out of the way, which isn't very good. I shall have to redeem that soon. Okay, so here we are. We're finally mixing some green stuff. God damn it. What the fuck was I thinking? What the actual fuck was I thinking? Hey, finally some action. So, we blobbed a lump of green stuff down and we pushed half, as in half of an orb onto there. We then went in with some clay shapers and we started to sculpt the actual eye orbit and the eyelid and stuff. I also decided I was going to move the eye over after this and make it like it's looking there, looking at the Space Marine. As you can see, kind of getting the same effect now. Just gradually pushing it over and gradually nudging it into position as to where I want it to be. Okay, so now we're actually sculpting more of the eyelid because I kind of wanted not a full eye look, so we're going over it with the cone tip clay shaper in order to give a kind of rough eyelid, kind of like, I don't know, like maybe there was some eyelashes there at one point, but maybe not. I wasn't entirely sure. I was kind of just going with the flow. I was also conscious that I destroyed the muscle layer that I'd done, so I had to go over that with, again, some more green stuff in order to tie it in with the rest of the face. Oh my days! I'm tired. Always tired, guys. Always tired. Okay, now it was also time to add some more detail into this part of the shoulder and to kind of bond it all in and merge it in and get rid of some more milliput and some more edging. So I was literally just plopping down some little lumps of green stuff and I would then go over them with my pokey device in order to pockmark them. Pokey, pokey, pokey. But anyway, guys, we are coming to the end of the episode. So, guys, I'll just remind you guys again, please go and check out the Indiegogo for Putrid painting. It would be really awesome if we could all get behind this guy and all get behind the website, as we all appreciate cheap prices for stuff, and you know, it just helps a brother out at the end of the day. Yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the episode, apart from some slight alterations of what I'm doing with the underarm, with his dirty pits. Just putting some green stuff, stuffing it in there, and sculpting it around and smoothing it all down and making it look more and more uniform. And can't really see much, because my hand's not in the correct position. And the model's not in the correct position either, because I'm a noob when it comes to filming. Well, not really, but whatever. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, it's kind of just a mishmash at the end now. I don't really know what I'm doing. And I can't really remember what I was thinking either, so I do apologise for that, guys. But hopefully you guys will join in for the next episode of Let's Build a Great Unclean One. Tune in also for the Voxcaster later on this week, and also some more Let's Build, and maybe, if I'm feeling up to it, maybe an episode of Enter the Wolf Time for once, in about 4, 5, 6 months, however long it's been. But yeah, guys, so thank you very much for watching, and see you guys again. Goodbye.